Hello and welcome. My name is John Michael Collins. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. The music you just heard is fun, upbeat, and kind of depicts me. It was provided by my friends Marino and Noah Correa, who are part of a company called Cinema Sonic. Head over to their website down in the description to find out how you could get quality audio and visual works for your next project. The last maybe 5 episodes, I've been trying to pre-plan an idea of what I'm going to pre-roll talk about, but I'm not gonna. Yesterday I tweeted, by the way, if you want to follow me on Twitter, my handle is @jmikec2417. I tweeted about the last month feeling like it's been 2 or 3 months. I feel like I've been ahead 1 month all of life for the last 4 months. Has actually felt like 5 months. It's kind of sad, but it'll be okay. This year has already been sad for all of us. But the good news is that there's been more good than bad, even though it feels like there hasn't. Last week, I didn't revive my TikTok account. I revived my presence on TikTok. I'm just using TikTok as an outlet to also get the word out about genuinely quirky things. Basically, I just made videos talking what each episode is about. If you have TikTok and you want to go to TikTok, you can just search @genuinely quirky things. Maybe it's a good marketing avenue, maybe it's not. We'll see. If you've seen me on TikTok, if you've seen genuinely quirky things on TikTok, thank you for seeing that. Like I always say, I'm about this podcast. I'm not doing it for any type of social gain or to be a better human. For Halloween, I'm staring at a tie right now. If you want to see the tie, you can go to that TikTok page because I'm wearing it around my neck and around my head. But I spent maybe 45 minutes making a Windsor knot. I did post that on my Instagram, so you can go see that tie. Not really a lot is going on in life. I've been drawing a little bit more. The last few days I've really, or maybe even the last week, it's just a conglomeration of things. I've been dealing a lot with sorting through emotions. And a couple nights ago, I just had this revelation, it felt like. What my emotions are, where they come from, and ultimately how to deal with them. Well, okay, all of life is learning about how to deal with your emotions. I won't say that I am perfect at dealing with them. Wow, that was a very nervous breath. But I think basically just realizing that emotions are emotions, and, that's why. Because sometimes our emotions will lead us to a place where we're involving other people. Because my friend asked me if I've been feeling a lot of anxiety recently. And yeah, I have. 2020 is a very anxious year. And then the next day, sometimes I get these random thoughts to text people, but I first kind of test them with the thought, okay, why? What's my purpose in sending this message? So I texted her, is my anxiety really that fragrant? Meaning, is it that obvious? If I were to walk into a room smelling like pumpkins, would everybody in the room immediately smell pumpkins? Okay, maybe not pumpkins, but you know how if you're baking something and your whole house just smells like that? Yeah, like that time that I was cooking a pumpkin and my whole apartment smelled like baked goods. Anyway, so is my anxiety really that fragrant? And she says, well, you did apologize for something that I didn't think about twice. So a little bit of context. My whole life, with and without Jesus suppresses my anxiety a whole bunch, which is awesome. But that anxiety is still a human trait. I still battle with that. Jesus just gives me much, much more peace that I would not find anywhere else in my life. I have always, and maybe it's the quote, blueprint that I grew up with, mental blueprint per my psychiatrist, something that I need to shake, something that I need to remodel or just kick out of the house, it's a process, and that takes time. And what I'm referring to is the fact that oftentimes I try to be very, very careful in what I say to people because I feel like that I'll hurt them. Because I have hurt people in the past, and that's a really, really crappy feeling to know that you hurt someone. Is my anxiety really that fragrant? Well, you did apologize for something that I didn't think about twice. So I said it happens at least once to those I care about. Yet I don't think Jesus ever apologized to anyone, but he cared about everyone. Because he couldn't hurt anyone, but we can. And then this that my friend said really struck me, and I think is one of the big things that sent me into this evaluation of my emotion alongside my conversation with my therapist last week. So my friend says, true, but to stress out over something so small kind of confuses people. I agreed and said, true. She says it's not a big deal, but at some point, you kind of need to trust that people will let you know if they're offended. I said, yeah, everybody has a weakness. I've said it before that... Wait, have I said before? I don't remember what I said before. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being awesome and helping me process my thoughts, allowing me to be here in this space, my diary, supporting me through your listens. It's nice to know that, like I've said before, I'm not doing this for any type of social gain. I'll say that one more time this episode. I'm doing this as a therapeutic outlet to help me process stuff, because I think we all need to talk. And this is a way for me to get my thoughts out without actually having a direct conversation with someone, because oftentimes what I do say comes off, okay, this is just a perception, and I don't actually know if this is true or not, but I know that people have short attention spans. I know very few people who are willing to listen, and I'm grateful to those people. And just because you're not willing to listen or you don't want to listen to what I have to say, that's okay. I still love you. Holy moly. So thank you. If you are just joining, this podcast is a personal and therapeutic tool I call a vocal diary. It's a space for me to process thoughts, explore stories, and post them for anyone who might be interested, hopefully inspiring someone, because this year is hard and we all need some light to shine through somehow, and maybe this will help at least one person. I'm not doing this for any type of social gain or to be a better human. There it is, the third time. Episode 1 and 2 talk about who I am. Give them a listen if you haven't. They just kind of go over me if you're interested. If you're not, that's okay. There's a bunch of other episodes you can just listen to stories. They're still stories from my past, but a quick disclosure that going on tangents may or may not be involved. This show is conversationally true to how I speak. It'd be interesting to take a survey of when I'm talking to people, how quickly I lose their attention. It depends on the person, depends on what I'm talking about, depends on what they ate that day, what I ate that day, the weather, so many different things, where the position of the Earth is in the solar system at what time of year. Here we go. To when I got those Chuck E. Cheese tickets. If you don't know what Chuck E. Cheese is basically a place where kids can go to play and have fun, and there's arcade games, those like crawly around areas with a ball pit. And from the games, you can win tickets. With those tickets, you can get prizes. When I got those, like I have said, a lot of my childhood memories come from, well, I perceive them to be from the time that I was 8 years old, but over the last couple of years, just sorting through a mess of thoughts, I've been able to start uncovering years when certain memories are from. So it was sometime around then. My family and I, we would go to Chuck E. Cheese for birthdays. Chuck E. Cheese, Fit for Fun. Oh, I forget what the third place's name was. It was another arcadey place, but it was really fun. My friends would have birthday parties there. There was a time I had accumulated this bag of tickets from games that I won, but there were a lot of tickets in that bag. I gave them to my niece because I was like, well, I don't really have any interest in using these because I have had them for so long that they're probably expired, but they actually did not expire, and my niece was able to use them and get some toys with them, some prizes, and that was a bunch of fun. I forget what she got. Arcade games are fun. Remembering your childhood is fun. Last night in that same tweet, I wrote #PuttingChildHatOn. Because being an adult is not fun right now. I'll just say that. And I'm glad that being able to go back and forth between being a child and an adult is... Being a child all the time is not healthy. Being an adult all the time I don't think is healthy either. I think it's a fine balance. Because as a child, I think you can be more in tune with your imagination and creativity, and that's something I firmly believe in. Creativity is an outlet that God created. Everything in 6 days, and on the 7th day he rested. He rested. So to mimic that creativity is something that intrinsically needs to happen in my life. Like giving Riley attention every day. Just saying good morning or hi. Giving her water. At least giving her water. Having fun. I guarantee God had fun making this world. Not just the world, but all the planets and the stars and just everything. If I could speak things into existence, okay, I can begin to comprehend what that would be like, but my understanding of everything is not perfect, which is okay. I would encourage you, if you have memories from your childhood, not to relive them to the point where it's emotionally deteriorating, but to where you can sit in the joy that you had in that time, and hopefully you can transfer that to your adult life as well, if you don't already. To when I swam in ball pits. So this basically goes to the last one as well. If you've never been in a ball pit, I don't remember the last time I swam in one because it's probably really weird and gross now. Especially during COVID. Jeez, I hope nobody has swam in one of those. Because how do you sanitize hundreds of plastic balls? It's weird. It's like kind of swimming in, not jelly. I've never swam in jelly. I don't know what that's like. It's just a little hard and resistive against you. If you've ever been to a trampoline park, they have kind of the same thing, but it's a foam pit. So it's a bunch of blocks of, not styrofoam, gosh, that would hurt. Really porous foam that you can jump in and it basically cushions your fall. The last time I was in one of those was just a few years ago, and I tried doing a front flip into it, but I ended up doing 1.5 front flips, and I landed on my head, and I guarantee that had my neck cracked one more time, I would have probably not been here right now. Be careful if you do anything like that. If you ever find a hobby or you're presented with an opportunity that looks like a bunch of fun because other people are having fun doing it, and it looks easy, just be careful or don't do it. It's like when I went skydiving, I'm like, okay, I don't think I'll ever want to do that again. I mean, I've replayed it many times in my head about what I would do differently, but I don't think taking the risk is worth it. I don't think so. I would caution you if you ever go skydiving. Be careful, please. To win Halloween scares me. To win Halloween scares me. I don't know if Halloween has ever scared me. Well, I can tell you if Halloween were to scare me, which I'm sure it has, I just can't pinpoint a time when it did. It's basically the thought of like scarecrows, death, a full moon, cold night, clouds. I was never scared when I went trick-or-treating. I was actually the opposite of scared because I was with friends, and it was awesome. But I've definitely seen Halloween movies that are like, holy cow, this is scary, this is a little messed up. I'm sure you have also seen Halloween movies. I don't think I've seen the movie Halloween and its sequels. I'm not a huge horror fan, but I do love the Alien movies, and especially Alien Covenant and Prometheus. They are very, very scary. We'll just say scary, but they're scary in such a way that it's like, I kind of want more of this. Just a little bit. I have a friend who once told me that not everybody is going to like you, and you need to be okay with that. Which is true. It's a learning thing. It's a life thing. Now, if you don't like someone because they look a certain way or they talk a certain way, that's kind of on you. That's actually your problem. I'm guilty. I've had those things. I've had certain experiences with people, and when I heard them talk, it was just hard, and I'd lose focus, and it is hard to love people. It's very hard to love people because we have hate and disgust and distrust and all these negative things that make life tough. But Jesus combats those things and gives strength to avoid those things even more. When I was talking about emotions, one of the many thoughts that I had come across and processed through was to not be embarrassed for being emotional. Being emotional is a human trait. Here in the United States, we live in a culture which basically raises us to say that being emotional is wrong. It's a sign of weakness. And I think it's a sign of strength. To be more in tune with yourself is great because you're spending time with you every day, 23 hours and 56 minutes every day, not 24 hours. It doesn't take 24 full hours to the... It doesn't take 24 full hours to the... It doesn't take 24 full hours to the... Really? It doesn't take 24 full hours for the Earth to rotate. It takes 23 hours and 56 minutes. Whew! So I encourage you to be okay with your emotions. If you're not. If you are, and I commend you, you have just won a giant ice cream cone filled with vanilla ice cream and then chocolate and then I was going to say a cherry on top, but I'm thinking more so those chalky sprinkles like I talked about a few episodes ago. I really, 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 really want to thank you from the deepest part of my heart for tuning in to this episode. If you liked it, please share it with your family and friends and anybody and everyone you know. Also, if you don't mind, head over to my website, which is my creative portfolio, johnmichaelcollins.com.
Okay, I'm a cool high school student, okay. Yeah, okay.
Thanks for listening.